Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Well, it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and you should be asleep, but clearly you're not. You're listening to FM News 101. It's Test Miles. It's your car entertainment show. I'm Nick Miles, along with the regular crew. Andrew is here. Sean is here. Oh, good morning, Andrew.
Oh, good morning. I still can't drive.
You still can't drive. Sean is here. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, everyone.
And,
We're teaching Andy how to drive soon.
Yeah, and our resident dad is here, Brad.
Good morning.
And we also have two special guests in the studio who are joining us because we are I think it's about 14 days away from the Portland Auto Show. Is that right, Greg and Jeff?
Yeah, we start on February 6th.
How many days is that? From, what's the date today, Andy?
Today is the 26th.
The 26th. All right, so we're 26 plus,
So,
how many days in January?
There's 30.
30 days, so that's 4, 6, yeah, we're about 10 days away from the Portland Auto Show.
11, there's 31.
The 31 days?
Yeah, I was tricking you. I
Oh,
was
you
thinking
were?
if it was British time.
All right. But that was British. There's only 30 days in the British calendar. That is correct. All right, Greg and Jeff, welcome back to the show. You have been on the ramp with us up to the Portland International Auto Show over the last 4 weeks. And boy, we've got some interesting news to come today. We will share that in a moment. But first of all, I want to get to news today. And something that was fairly unexpected was the fact that our, matriarch of the industry here in Portland, a man who has 21 dealerships, a man who is responsible for jobs from one end of the state and beyond to the other, passed away on Friday. Ron Tonkin, the senior of the Tonkin family of dealerships, was 82 years of age. And on Friday, around lunchtime, he left us, but he left us with such a legacy. And I know he was an important part of the Metro car dealers. Do you have good memories of working with him?
You know, Ron was not just well known here in the Portland area for his involvement with the car business, but on a national level as well, too. And it was back in the 80s. He was chairman of the National Auto Dealers Association at a time where there was a lot of discourse between the manufacturers and the dealers. Manufacturers were forcing a lot of costs on the dealers and forcing them to participate in certain programs. And that was the time that Ron took over as NADA chairman and stood up to the manufacturers, got a group of dealers together, of which he nicknamed the Rough Riders. And they took on the manufacturers and won and established some franchise laws that are common in nearly every state right now.
The fact that not only did he do charity work and things like Make-A-Wish and the other charities in town here that survived because of his support, he developed green dealerships, some of the greenest dealerships in the world. He also developed best employment places. The Tonkin family of dealerships have been listed as the best places to work, the top 100 best places to work, and they also brought jobs to so many people. And doesn't the Tonkin family now have one of the biggest dealership families in the country?
Yes, they do. Certainly in Oregon here, they're one of the larger groups. But you're right. It is a great place to work, and they really try to hire the right people and empower them to do the job that they were hired to do. They're there to give them the support that they need. But in every one of their stores where there's a general manager or a sales manager, they allow them to make decisions on their dealerships and how they'll run and operate. Hold them accountable if they don't do it right, but at the same time champion them to have some decision-making process on what they're going to do, and it works.
I think my favorite story about Ron Tonkin is I was with one of his GMs about 2 years ago, and the GM got a phone call. And the phone call, Ron had been down at, I think, Barrett Jackson, and he had let his passion get a little bit hot on one end, I would say, and had started bidding on cars that he thought were pretty cool. And suddenly this general manager had all these cars coming in that he hadn't expected. And he's like, oh, what's he done? He's got this, and he's brought me this, and he's got this. I've got to sell all these cars, and they're suddenly arriving. And he was worried because he suddenly had an inventory increase by 5 or 10 cars that he wasn't expecting. And they weren't cars he would have particularly gone out and bought. And he's like, I hope he's doing the right thing. Well, I hooked up with him a week later, and we were filming some stuff again. And he was like, I don't know what it is about that guy, but every car's already sold. It's gone off the lot. And that shows that at the time he was in his late 70s, early 80s, he could still pick out a car that somebody would want. And he'd sit there at the auction and he could look at that car. That BMW was owned by this guy and it's a classic. And he would pick out these cars that we all thought he was crazy to buy. But sure enough, they put them on the lot. And within the matter of 7 days, they were all sold. And that's a car guy. That's somebody that loves cars and knows cars. And he knows that if he brings that car back to Portland from Barrett-Jackson, it's going to sell. And that, to me, is the whole essence about him. The other thing I think is the essence about Ron and the whole idea is, the car business was a business. It was selling cars, and he treated it as a business. But he was in the business of loving cars. And that was the difference. That's about me. Like, I make TV and radio shows about cars, but it's not the TV and radio shows that get me going. It's the cars. And that's the same way, and that's the mantra of the Tonkin family of dealerships, for the love of cars, and it truly is. If I didn't work in TV or radio, I would still love cars absolutely as much as I do, and that's a real tribute to that man, because he took the love and the passion that he had, and he just shared it with everybody. And the business is the business, but the cars are the cars, and I think that makes a difference about him. So that's my story about him. How big is the development of the Tonkin family of dealerships? They have 21, and they started with one. Is that right?
Their first dealership was a Kaiser dealership. When Ron got out of the service, his father owned a used car dealership here in town that he went to work at, and their first opportunity to get in the new car business was a Kaiser dealership. And he worked there with his father to begin with, but worked 7 years straight, only taken 7 days off. Again, going back to the love of cars, and wanted to be as involved in every aspect of the business that he could be. The 7 days he took off was 7 years of Christmases.
Wow, that's commitment. And of course, the business still stands pretty solidly today. Whatever happened to Kaiser, by the way?
It went the way of many cars in
Really?
that era.
The dealership that we know that they still have, that was their real first one that still exists, is the Chevy dealership, right, on 122nd.
Correct.
I know, Sean, you bought 11 cars from them?
Yeah, I bought 11 cars from the Chevy dealership on Tonkin.
Yeah, so that's an attribute to, he goes back every time. Sean goes back every time. What was the last one you bought?
I bought my Callaway Vet there, and then my mom just bought a Traverse from them.
So I have to just tell you something about Sean. This is the caliber of guys in this room. Sean, unfortunately, lost his grandfather, who left him inheritance. Sean doesn't own his own home. He took the inheritance and bought a Corvette Callaway. Didn't buy a house like the rest of us. He was like, no.
We love you, Sean. That's great.
This is the only chance he knew he'd have to buy a Callaway. So he went and bought a Corvette Callaway, which is a tribute to the fact that Sean loves cars and immensely loves cars.
Well, it's a two-seater and has a nice trunk, so I could live in it technically if I had to.
Yeah. It's worth more than some houses in this area.
Well, I'm the type of guy that's going to have a little 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom apartment and have like a 20-car garage.
Yeah.
That's my dream house.
That's it. And you still have your original Camaro you bought, right?
Well, my first Camaro I wrecked, and then I went and bought a second one in high school, which I still do have.
Right.
The Tonkins, yes.
30 years ago?
Pretty close to 20.
I was kidding, by the way.
It was close,
Trying
though.
to be funny there. Very progressive. We celebrate his life. He was an amazing man, and even if he didn't touch you, he did touch you some way. Oh, you don't know somebody that's bought a car from there. You're an unusual person because they pretty much touched so many lives in Portland. So we are dedicating this show this week to Ron Tonkin, who really changed the way things go as far as cars are in this community. We're going to have more about the Portland Auto Show coming up. We're going to talk about the sneak peek party. We have some more hot information. Not only are you going to get free food, free drink, and get to touch and embrace all of these cars before the general public, but you're also going to get entertained by a national top quality act who is going to be at the show. We're going to tell you who and more about that. Plus, we're going to have more about the show itself and some test drive cars this week. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. Your Sunday morning is turning out to be fabulous. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
I got the magic in me. Every time I touch that track, it turns into gold.
Well, we have jumped inside our vehicle, which we are test driving today. And interestingly enough, all three of us are inside. Brad isn't because we left him with his walker on the sidewalk. But Andy's here and Sean's here inside the 2000. What are we driving? A 2015 Mazda 3.
Are we in the future then? Or does that mean we're in the future?
No, when it says 2015, it means that it's next year's model. Yeah, I guess it would be. We would be in the future.
Yes!
So this vehicle cost you around $24,000. The one we're driving is $24,000. It was a nominee for North American Car of the Year, and it does 33 miles a gallon average, 29 in the city, and 40 miles a gallon with its Sky Active on the highway, which is pretty good, 40 miles a gallon, I would tell you. A lot of new things that they've done inside this car. One of the things I really like about this particular vehicle is Mazda did a bunch of tests, and the tests were there to see how much information people could read on the navigation screen. And they found out the maximum amount of things that you could read is 7. Their screen actually only has 7 pieces of information on it at any one time. All right, the Bridgestone tires that come on these cars are their winter tires, and they are great performers, as we know by the front wheel burnouts that we've been doing. Sean, can you call it a burnout if it's a front wheel drive?
It's a little hard to get it, but yeah, you can do a burnout in a front wheel drive car.
We have been doing them, actually, and it's kind of fun in this vehicle. It's a zoom vehicle. We really enjoyed the Mazda 3 with all its fuel economy savings, its zoom driving characteristics, and its highly efficient modern technology. Now, I'm going to click my fingers, and we're going to be back in the studio. And of course, if you'd like to walk away with your own Mazda 3, well, the one way you can do it is go to the Portland International Auto Show and visit the booth there, where you can sign up and your chance to win a brand new Mazda 3 of your own. That's our review. You're back in the studio with us at Test Miles. The whole gang's here, and we're joined by our special guests, Greg and Jeff from the Portland. Is it the Metro Portland or the Portland Metro?
Metro Portland New Car
Metro.
Dealers
See, I get it right every
Association.
time, and then when I ask, the Metro Portland New Car Dealers Association. Now, you have your sneak peek party coming up. If somebody doesn't know about this, they've been living under a rock for the last 4 weeks. The sneak peek party takes place on Wednesday. Is that correct? On the 5th?
Right, Wednesday, February 5th.
And it is at the Oregon Convention Center. Tickets are $100. What do you get for the $100, Greg?
You get access to the show before the crowds get in on Thursday, but there's open bar, there's food stations throughout the convention center, and now we can finally talk about the entertainment that's going to be there as well, too, and that's a country western star by the name of Jack Ingram.
The clouds are parting, the summer sun's starting to
Is going to come down and play a special set just for us, a very closed group of people, very personal, very up close. It'll be a lot of fun.
Now, that's pretty incredible, because let's just think about this. If you were going to go and buy a Jack Ingram ticket, you would probably pay about the same amount of money. You'd be sitting in a seat with a lot of other people. Maybe you would be back 40, 50 rows from the stage. This is an up close and personal with an open bar, with food, and with cars. I pretty much think you guys have come up with heaven here.
Hurry up and take my money.
Andy's writing out a check right now.
Jeff's got his hand out.
What are the charities?
The Boys and Girls Club of Portland, Meals on Wheels people, the Providence Medical Foundation, and
JDRF.
the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
All absolutely fantastic. We've talked to Kelly. He came in from Providence to tell us a little bit about what the money's going to do for them, which includes somewhere for all of those people who come to town, either needing medical attention or they bring a family member. They'll have somewhere to stay now as they put their housing project together for those people visiting the hospital or needing treatment at the hospital. They get to be on site rather than have to stay at a hotel up to miles and miles away and come in on a daily basis. They can actually be in the hospital. That is a great gift that we can give to those people who need medical attention. So that is just one. The Meals on Wheels providing food for a lot of people who are not able to make their own meals or not able to get them any other way. And that's great because perfect tie-in, by the way, too. The meals, wheels, cars. Did you guys all get that?
I get it.
Okay.
I think Andy was in on that one.
Yeah. He was winking at me earlier on. And the juvenile diabetes, great to make sure that our kids can be healthy and they can also beat a disease that we have had such a hard time combating. And then the final one was
Boys and Girls
Club, where we know the big brothers and big sisters taking care of those people who didn't have the parentage that they maybe should have had. And we're reaching out and helping some youngsters in our communities so they can grow up and have healthy lives and hopefully become car consumers just like us to enjoy those beautiful, shiny objects, the reason that we're all here. So those are good charities. Now, how are the ticket sales, Jeff? Is there still a possibility if someone wants one, they can still get a ticket?
Absolutely. You can go to PortlandAutoShow.com and select your charity or charities and make that purchase right online. Very, very simple.
And do you envisage selling out at some point?
That is our goal, actually. We have a goal of 5,000 people. So a quick math there, Andy, that's $500,000 going back to those charities.
Man, that's so much money for them. There's 5,000, can we do 6?
Again, because we're trying to keep this a very personal event and make it a who's who event, we're going to cap it at 5,000 people.
Well, so if you were thinking about going, you probably should get your act together. Get online to theportlandautoshow.com. Is that right?
That is correct. And actually, at the far right side of that website, there's a very easy way to purchase those tickets. It's just a simple drop-down.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about the sneak peek party, as well as those food and drinks. Who normally attends this party? What's it been like in the past? Because it's fairly exclusive. You had to be a member of the media before now.
It was an industry-exclusive event in the past, so it was only people that were in our industry or the media that were invited to come. And our board of directors made the decision last year to open this up to the public, basically because we get the request, and we've seen it successful in other cities. We made the decision to bring in these 4 charities and turn 100% of the profits onto them, as well as some profits from the auto show.
And that's actually excellent because I have been to that event, the sneak peek party, before it was the charity event. And it just tends to be like TV stations, newspaper guys, a lot of the dealers and those sort of things. So now the public has a chance to buy a very few tickets to get in there. And I'm hoping, if you're listening this morning, you should be going and making sure that you buy your tickets, because I'd hate you to go to that website and it says sold out and there's no longer a ticket available for you. So go buy your tickets.
The one thing we do need to keep in mind, though, because we do have the open bar, it is for 21 and over only.
Yeah, I think we're all count. Yeah, we're all 21 and over, aren't we? We might not be responsible, but we're 21 and over.
I don't have a license, so is an ID card that states I'm over 21 okay?
That's fine.
You're listening to FM News 101. This is Test Miles. Please join us on the website at testmiles.com, where you can be our Facebook friend, be our Twitter friend, and also you can find out about that sneak peek party. All our logos are up, and you can also click right through to the Portland Auto Show website and buy your tickets to the sneak peek. We'll know if you haven't bought them. We have a list, by the way.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Welcome back to Test Miles. It's your Sunday entertainment, and we talk about cars. We are talking Portland Auto Show. Our regular crew is here, Andy, Brad, and Sean. And joining us in the studio is Jeff and Greg from the Portland Metro New Car Dealers Association, or the Metro Portland New Car Dealers Association. You guys, the Portland Auto Show is coming together. What's still left to do, Jeff?
Oh, my gosh. The list is too long.
You have some firsts for this year's show, don't you?
We do, and actually I have a first that has never been shared until this point. There's a Kia that is not scheduled for production yet. The K900 will be here.
Really? The K900 is the big boy out of the Kia family. This is their full-size luxury car. This is goes up against BMW 7 Series, the Mercedes S-Class. This is the big luxury car, and for about $30,000 less than its competition. So this car is fabulous, and the headlights on it are like little LEDs, at least the one I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. The materials on the inside, absolutely outstanding. And I think it has that glass panoramic roof from one end to the other, from front to back.
That is correct. And actually, for a debut on the West Coast at Portland Auto Show, you can't beat it.
Man, so you have the Kia K900, which has never been seen before on the West Coast. We have the Ford Mustang, which has never been seen on the West Coast. That is new, celebrating 50 years of Ford. They've sold 9 million of them. That goes to production in the late summer. So your chance to see this car is about 6 months ahead of anybody else if you come to the show. You don't have one, but you have 2 Corvette Stingrays on the floor. And that car, I'm going to tell my story again because it's the only one I've got, and it's pretty good. Third gear, 107 miles an hour in eco mode. That's what I got that car up to. So you know it's pretty scary, right? That's an amazing, amazing car. In fact, when you pop the clutch on that thing and you let it roar, it will throw you back in the seat just like your ex-wife punched you in the chest. It's amazing. You're also going to have, you're giving away the Mazda 3. You also will have ride and drives, and I can't remember all the ride and drives because it expands and changes every 30 seconds. So tell me who's in the ride and drive.
We have a plethora of those this year. We have Toyota with a full lineup. We have Kia. We have Subaru. We have Scion. We have General Motors with Buick, Chevrolet, and GMC. And new, again, another breaking story here, we have Chrysler with a multi-brand ride and drive now, too.
And you also actually have a Chrysler car I'm not sure we've talked about before that's coming to the show.
We do. We have a West Coast debut for Chrysler as well. They're bringing out the Chrysler 200.
And that's their mid-size sedan. We saw it first time showed a couple weeks ago in Detroit. What trucks do we have?
The F-150, the aluminum body.
Oh, that's right. The F-150 is going to be here, right?
Right, and actually we have its big brother, too. We have the F-Series, the 2015 F-Series coming as well.
Yeah, the Super Duty. So Ford has an amazing display of trucks. I didn't get to spend much time with the F-150, so I'm actually glad it's going to be in Portland because I want to spend more time with that truck. But I did see they cleared everybody out of Detroit because the vice president wanted to come and see the truck. So we all got shooed. We all got dangerous journalists all have to leave the hall because the vice president needs to come in and see the truck. So the vice president, Joe Biden, came by the Detroit Auto Show and took a look at the F-150. And interestingly enough, not only was Alan Mulally there, the head of Ford, but also Old Man Ford was there. He uses a golf cart to go around the auto show, which I want. That was pretty amazing. And everywhere those three together, I mean, that's the power base in the United States right there. Those are the guys that make 50% of the money decisions, I think, for the United States right there in that one room. Pretty amazing. So the new F-150 going to be here, as well as the Motor Trend truck of 2013 and 14, which is the Ram 1500. One of my favorites. Not only does it have more ring-ding-ding gadgets than anything else in its class, but it also has that air suspension in the back, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Did you say ring-ding gadgets?
Yeah, ring-ding-ding gadgets. That's all the shiny things that you can press and do things.
Not quite sure I've heard that analogy
before.
Yeah.
It's like it's a kid in a candy store thing. You know, when it has lots of pretty buttons you can press that do things and make sounds. I like that.
Jeff, do you want to tell them about the one that has the most ring-ding-ding to it that's coming? In the Ram line?
I'm not sure. The Sun Chaser truck? Have you heard anything about that truck? Do I want to tease that right now?
I've seen pictures of this Sun Chaser truck. This is amazing. So this is Ram's, a vehicle they did for SEMA, right?
Correct.
And it's especially for those guys that like beach activities.
Absolutely. It has a shower in it.
Yeah, it has a shower. It has a flip-down bed in the back where you can sit. It has like seats. So
Turns into a couch.
Yeah, you can sit on the tailgate. It has places for your surfboards to go. Yeah, this is definitely a beach. And it's raised, I think, like it has a lift on it, a lift kit on it.
It does have 4 inches of lift, and it's got beadlock wheels and tires on there.
And it's the same color as my hair. It's like a weird orange color, right?
I'm not sure where to go from there, but yes, it is.
Yeah, no, I love that truck, and I thought it was going to disappear after the SEMA show, but you managed to grab it and bring it to Portland.
The difference is this truck will stay that color.
And my hair won't.
Yeah. Just felt obligated to point that out.
Gloves off. There we go.
Well, if we're talking trucks, we have to always mention, the 2015 Chevy Silverado will be here, and the 2015 GMC Sierra will be here as well.
Right. So the Silverado is Truck of the Year, North American Truck of the Year. That won at the Detroit show just recently. And the Sierra is probably one of the highest kitted out, most comfortable, best trucks I've driven in a long, long time. I was extremely wowed by that. In fact, it's like being in a full-size luxury car, but you have that truck bed in the back. That's what's amazing. And the comfort. And you know, I flip up. They have these little like dust covers. And every time you open a dust cover, you find another surprise. 115-volt plug-in, 3 USBs stacked together, a cigarette lighter adapter for your cell phone. Every time I flip one up, there you go. There's another surprise. In fact, I think, Sean, we worked at it had like 15 USB possibilities, adapters inside the How many cell phones does one person need? Seriously? I mean, you could have a computer and 14 cell phones attached to the vehicle at one time. So that the one that we drove was pretty decked out. Wow, this show's going to be quite a killer.
It is. The square footage of this year's show is absolutely phenomenal.
Please come join us at the show. There is a vicious rumor floating around right now that we may actually be live at the show. But the cars, they'll all be uncovered. The Portland Auto Show coming up soon. We will have more Test Miles when we get back in just a moment. Test Miles on News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and this is the portion of the show, if you're not familiar with it, where we do our new car test drives. Now, today I'm driving a 2014 Jeep Wrangler. This is the sport version and the unlimited version. 4 doors, a semi-convertible. And when I say semi-convertible, that basically means the vehicle is a hard top, but the hard top is removable for a soft top. So in the summertime, you can take the doors off, take the top off, and have the car as a convertible. Now, I'm not the only person that's spent a week in this. Sean Walker is with me in the car. Sean, you specifically wanted to do this test drive on this vehicle because you say you have a lot to say about the Jeep Wrangler.
I do. This is my favorite off-road vehicle, and I know you're partial to Land Rovers and everything, but I think this is the ultimate off-roading vehicle there is out there.
Now, it's a bit sippy on the gas, I noticed. We've been through quite a bit of gas. So how do you feel about gas consumption?
Gas consumption's a little on the heavy side. I mean, it does suck it up, but all vehicles that are off-road vehicles are not Priuses. They don't, sip the fuel economy. You have to have some kind of weight to go off-roading.
I think that's the four-wheel drive system tends to weigh these vehicles down, and plus the fact that they have a solid frame. What else do you like about this car, Sean?
I just love it. To me, it's a comfortable ride. I know it's a little rough, and then with the rugged tires and everything, but it's still a comfortable ride for everything, and it feels nice. I love the big, thick steering wheel when you're driving it. I love the fact that as well that you could remove the doors, you could flop the glass down, you could take the top off, and have a total convertible out of this car. And then even with the hard top, and especially you're not getting as cold as you would with a cloth top. I just love this vehicle for what it is. It's, like you said, a big American truck, and you can go do anything you want in this car.
All right, so here's a summary of our test drive of the 2014 Jeep Wrangler Sports Unlimited. We love the vehicle. There's no doubt about that. They've done a great job on updating it for 2014. It's quiet. The gauges are well laid out. They're nice and bulky. It has an imagery of Jeep that you'd expect. The downside to this vehicle, high gas consumption, and over $36,000 for the model that we're test driving. Sean, any final remarks?
Go on and get a Jeep.
Wow, sold. I'll sell you on and take the commission. You're listening to Test Miles on News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and back with more car stuff in a moment.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101. I'm Nick Miles, and in the studio, a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, rapscallions, and I can't think of any other clever words to call you right now, but everybody on the show is here. Andrew, Sean, and Brad, along with our special guests, Jeff and Greg from the PortlandMetro.com new car owners of the world. The dealers come together and they have an organization which is good enough to put on the Portland International Auto Show, and these guys are basically in charge of the show and they run it. I wanted to ask you a whole bunch of stuff, but first of all, we should give people an opportunity to go to the show as a gift from us. So you said you would have some tickets for us, and is that right, Jeff?
Did I say that? I guess so, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I heard it. I have it on proof.
You need my security guard to get out of the building. I'm just telling you. You better call your wife and tell her you're not coming home tonight.
So I was brought here by, okay. I
Under
was brought here
false
for the auto
pretenses.
show tickets. Nothing else, but just the auto show tickets.
Absolutely. We'd like to give away some auto show tickets. If you would like to be the recipient of them, please just like us on Facebook. We'll start right there. TestMiles is our Facebook name, TestMiles. And if you like us on Facebook, we'll give you the opportunity to win some tickets to the Portland International Auto Show starting on February the 6th. And then we'd also encourage you to go to the sneak peek party. But you'll have to buy your tickets for those. We're not giving any away since all the money goes to charity. And that's February the 5th and the evening on the floor of the convention center with food, drink, cars, and the artist,
Jack Ingram.
Jack Ingram is going to be here playing a set for those 5,000 lucky people who get to go to the show. Let's talk to the rest of the crew. By the way, this week I was in Vegas. I got to drive the new BMW 2 Series, which is replacing the 2 Series Coupe, the M version, around the NASCAR circuit in Las Vegas. I mean, I've never driven on an oval before, and they stopped us on the oval halfway around and said, "Get out, walk it, see how it feels." So we stopped this line of BMWs. We walked. I couldn't even walk up the oval.
How much is it banked?
It's so much you can't walk up it. I was out of breath when I got about 5 feet. I mean, it's banked so much it hurts to walk up the oval. What have you been driving this
Well,
week?
I got to drive actually a competitor to some of these BMWs. That's the Lexus IS, the 350. I love that car. I mean, it's quick. It's sexy. My mom, 80, she doesn't want me to say that, but 81 years old, came out. She goes, "That is the best looking car I've ever seen." She loves the look of that car.
Now,
too.
although I value your mom, that came right after the statement "sexy." My 81-year-old mother loves the car. Maybe there's a better sell line in there somewhere. I drove past a high school and the girls were whistling at the car, not me. Maybe it may have been your line.
That's true. I'm pretty sure my mom is not the target audience for this vehicle.
Let me tell you.
But, you know, I'm
anybody,
overaged, or I'd like to say I'm middle-aged, but I'm not going to be living to 110.
if you had to rate this car out of 10, how many points would you give it?
At least an 8. I mean, it is $52,000 all in. So it's not inexpensive, and there's some other vehicles in that type, but it actually, I hate to say this, I put my kids in the back seat, plenty of room.
Really?
That's it. No vacuum cleaner. That's why it's not maybe a 10. I'd say 8.5 for sure.
Just before we jump to this, his kids are 5 years old, by the way, so pretty much any car that has a back seat is going to have plenty of room. Sean, can you top that?
I can top that. I was driving something that all your cars were trying to inspire to be. I was driving a brand new Ferrari California, but the back seats, you're not getting no kids in it. I could hardly get my gym bag in the back seat of that thing.
Excellent. Did you enjoy the car?
I loved it. The sound of a Ferrari, I mean, the drive, the handling, what more could you not like about it?
It's the best part about the Ferrari California when I've driven it is changing gear. I would put it into the paddle shift mode and get going fast and change down 2 or 3 gears, because when that exhaust pops, man, everybody on the street turns around and looks at you. It's like
yeah, because it's loud and you know it's a Ferrari.
Yeah,
there's nothing sexier than an Italian exhaust.
We have to thank Gran Turismo, Ron Tonkin, Gran Turismo for their loan of the Ferrari, and Steve Wintermantle and Art Smith. These guys, awesome. Thank you so much, and you will be able to see the car that you drove. It'll be on display at this year's Portland International Auto Show. Now, did we get everything in about the auto show, guys?
I think so.
Yeah? So we're good to go? Now, we have a list of people that haven't bought tickets yet, right?
We do, and we'll be calling you out by name.
Yeah, so next week, listen for the names of the people that haven't bought tickets to the show, right?
And again, you can win tickets.
Win tickets by going to our Facebook page and liking us. That's Test Miles. Or go to our website if you want to hear this show and many other shows at testmiles.com. Andrew, final words?
If you're not going to the Portland Auto Show and or listening to this radio show, you're not really living life now, are you?
No, you're not. And your Sunday morning's been pretty crappy so far. We'll catch you next week. We will be here with more car entertainment. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles.